Hey everyone, Rachel Bear, Realtor with Bridgewell Real Estate Group, and welcome back to the Bridgewell Group YouTube channel where I talk about all things real estate in the Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada area. And today's video, I wanted to do something more in the theme of spring and spring cleaning and renovating and all this stuff. And I've been getting a lot of inquiries about flipping a home. So I am going to focus on highest return on investment items when you are selling your property and what you should think about. And this will, of course, relate to flippers as well because you're trying to decide on what items you should do before you sell that property. So I did want to kind of give you guys some pro tips today. I wanted to talk about the difference between renovating and just maintaining your home's value. And then the Appraisal Institute of Canada just released the top 4 renovations with the highest return on investment. So of course I'll share those with you as well. Plus a couple other things that I think are really good ROIs just based on what I see in the real estate market. And what a lot of buyers are gravitating towards. So first tip, number one, absolutely number one is, there's no be all end all answer for what the highest ROI is. And it is really going to depend on the type of home and the target market that you are marketing to when you are selling that property. So a perfect example of this is that if your home is, very, very high tear down potential, say like RT1 zoning in the Millardville area of Coquitlam, where, builders are going to gravitate towards that type of property. They are not going to place a very high value on your renovations. So for you, if you are living in a teardown property looking to sell, it might not be the highest ROI to put $100,000 in, a kitchen, bathroom, flooring, like complete renovation when your home is a teardown. So just keep in mind that you are going to have to think about, who your target market is, what your ideal buyer is, and really tailor your renovation to that particular buyer. And I'm not saying that, you need to exclude all of those other buyers. Just be aware of who your target buyer is before you start the renovations and make a decision that is at least somewhat weighted on who that target buyer is. So that's my number one tip for you guys. The other thing that I really just want to clarify is the difference between renovating a home and maintaining a home's value. This really comes into play with return on investment because, just because you put $100,000 into a home does not mean that you can expect $100,000 back or $150,000 back. So a higher return on investment. And the reason why is because, there's this idea, I guess, that say, replacing your hot water tank that's 15 years old when the average life expectancy of a hot water tank is around 10 is a renovation. But really what you're doing is you're maintaining your home's value. You are doing something that a buyer would likely expect to have been done already or would like to have factored in to be done already because that item that's fundamental to a home is past its average life expectancy. So I think that there's, a little bit of a difference that you need to take into consideration. And with regards to maintaining a home's value, a lot of the times this is like a hot water tank, a furnace, a roof, windows. If those are past their average life expectancy, those may not be things that you are necessarily, adding in terms of a renovation. Rather, you're simply maintaining your home's value and putting it to the expectation of the market already or what a buyer would expect. Given, of course, that it has reached its life expectancy. So that's something that I would definitely recommend you to consider is just understanding that difference between maintaining your home's value versus actually renovating things more cosmetically, I would say. So, according to the Appraisal Institute of Canada, what are the top 4 renovations with the highest return on investment? Dun, dun, dun. They say an updated kitchen. So the kitchen is always the heart of the home, so it's not really much of a surprise that kitchen renovations are consistently providing the best return on investment. A lot of the times when I have a home buyer go in, top things, kitchen, and bathroom. And of course, that's the Appraisal Institute of Canada's number 2 thing. So a sparkly bathroom. Bathroom renovations, always very, very reliable when it comes to boosting the overall value of the home. And I would say that those are definitely 2 popular areas where, you know, if you can meet the buyer's preferences in terms of modern renovations in today's market, like, you know, a lot of people like those quartz countertops, the white, the clean, the bright, open concept. You know, opening up your kitchen is a really good return on investment right now. And just, you know, thinking about modern and demand for renovations in today's market, focusing on the kitchen and the bathroom. Another one that makes a world of difference if you don't have all of, you know, the change to be able to facilitate a kitchen or a bathroom renovation, paint. Interior paint is huge in terms of changing the space, and, you know, especially if a lot of your rooms or areas are really dark, like having a nice, you know, white or neutral tones to a home, and painting the interior really makes the place feel so much brighter. It makes the place feel so much bigger, and it's not as big of a cost in comparison to, say, kitchen or bathrooms. And that's definitely one of the highest return on investments that I notice myself, and also that is verified or validated by the AIC, the Appraisal Institute of Canada. The other thing that they have in here that I was surprised to see for the number 4, compared to what I thought the number 4 would be, is refresh decor. So updated lighting, plumbing fixtures, hardware, all of those things. When they say refresh decor, they also include flooring. I would have actually said that flooring is my number 4 top ROI item. So taking out carpets is really common right now and replacing it with something like a laminate, a vinyl, or a engineered hardwood or hardwood flooring is very, very popular. It does depend on the type of property that you are purchasing, whether or not, you know, like laminate all the way throughout, for example, including the bedrooms is going to be popular. In condos, that's really popular right now. I would say that in houses, it's still very common to have carpets in the bedrooms, and so it kind of does depend. But yeah, they have refresh decor inclusive of flooring. So I think that if I was to take refresh decor as a wider range of things, I would put flooring at the forefront of that. I definitely think that flooring has a very high ROI, and that a lot of people, when they come into a home for showings and things like that, often comment on the state of the flooring or whether or not they would replace it from, say, carpets to a laminate. So definitely something to pay a lot of attention to. And, you know, with their refresh decor item there, they had updated lighting. And I would say that, you know, a lot of the times you don't even necessarily need to update the light fixture itself, but the amount of difference that it makes when you just replace the light bulbs to something that's white, like a bright white bulb instead of like a yellowish tone to the bulb, really makes a huge difference. It's something that I recommend to a lot of my home sellers when I'm going through their properties. First of all, make sure that all of the lights are working, that all of the bulbs are working and there's none that are burnt out, and make sure that they're consistent and that they're white and not that kind of yellowy hue or tone to them. So those are the AIC's top ones. So updated kitchen, updated bathroom, fresh painting, and then they say refresh decor. I would say flooring and their refresh decor kind of category includes flooring, lighting, and hardware. So those are theirs. I think that another really, really big one to think about that they don't have included here is if you have an unfinished basement, finishing that basement is going to be huge in terms of ROI, especially if you can add that suite. You'll see a lot of flippers that will target homes that have an unfinished basement because it only works for, not only, but oftentimes it works for a very specific type of person that has the ability or the skills to be able to finish off that basement, or it's quite a large monetary investment for people that need to hire somebody. So finishing off that basement yourself and having something that's more move-in ready is going to be a huge return on investment for you, especially if you have the ability to add a suite to that, because now a suite is able to help a buyer qualify for more mortgage money because the lender or the mortgage broker can use the potential rental income from that suite coming in to get them a higher pre-approval amount. So as I was mentioning before, this is something that you see a lot of flippers target, is a home that has an unfinished basement, or maybe has a finished basement, but it's just not suited, but it's suitable. All they do is they put the suite in, and it, automatically adds quite a bit of value to that property. So also known as high return on investment. I think that that's definitely a really good one that they didn't include in here that I would definitely recommend to include. Another pro tip to keep in mind as well is, with a lot of these renovations, make sure that you are on trend. There is no point, a lot of the times, to doing these renovations if you are going to renovate a property that is off trend, or put in renovations that are off trend. Because a buyer is going to come in and they're going to say, well, I need to renovate this anyways. I wish you didn't spend the money on that. A really good example is, if you go in and you put something that's very outdated in terms of trends like shag carpet, it's probably not going to appeal to a lot of buyers, even though you put that money in to replace your, existing flooring. Putting in shag carpet is not going to have a high return on investment because it doesn't meet the market trends. So definitely think about, when you are renovating, are you on trend, and is it something that a buyer is going to want to move into, or is it going to be something that they look at and say, why did you spend money on that? I need to replace this anyways, in which case your return on investment is not going to be very high. So that's a really big one. And last but not least, before you do your reno, get an evaluation. And this is property like real estate market evaluation, and it's especially if you are doing this before you're putting your home on the market, because there's a lot of things that you want to take into consideration as well. What are other homes, or what are other units, if you're a detached homes in the area like selling for, and what do they look like? What does your competition look like? Do you have a highly saturated market right now with a lot of inventory that you're competing with, and it's all renovated product? Or are you in a very low inventory situation where there's not a lot of competition, and it's very likely that your home is going to fly regardless of whether it's renovated or not? Those are the kind of things that you need to know, like market conditions, to make a decision on whether or not it's worth it for you to renovate, because there's also, the time and the effort portion of that renovation. And, just, finding out what the market expectations are in terms of where you need to maintain your home's value, and what you should renovate, or if you should renovate. So this is all kind of in that realm of, doing your homework beforehand, finding out who your target buyer is, figuring out what the market trends are, and just knowing who you're competing with. So that's really where a realtor steps in. And so if you guys are in the Lower Mainland, Vancouver, Coquitlam, Fraser Valley, all of those kind of areas is where we service at Bridgewell Real Estate Group. And so if you are thinking about selling your home and looking for a market evaluation, or trying to figure out which items have the highest return on investment, then definitely feel free to reach out to me anytime. It's something that we do quite often with regards to our walkthroughs, is kind of giving you recommendations on how to prepare your home for sale, what are the highest return on investment items, and which ones are actually worth doing for you, given your goals, your market conditions right now, and your type of property, and obviously the type of buyer that we're likely going to be targeting. So feel free to reach out to me anytime, guys. I hope that this video was helpful and informative. It's always nice to get an update on what's happening in the market, and where your money is going to yield the most amount of profit. And I love doing these videos, and I love talking about this stuff. So I hope that it was helpful, and let me know if you have any questions down below. If you have any thoughts with regards to what you think other high return on investment items are, or if you have any thoughts on pro tips that you guys give to your clients, if there's any realtors watching. So definitely leave something down in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more awesome real estate information and videos. Thanks so much, guys, and have a great day. Bye.